All right, I believe we are live. Please let me know in the comment section, the chat, if everything is okay. Oh, Alan, good evening. Good evening to everybody. I am very excited today. This is finally happening. We are trying to do this for a while, but it's too busy, guys, trying to do things for the industry. And I'm very, very happy that's happening today. Um, so let me bring the guest of honor. Cayman,
Hey, Humberto, how are you doing?
good. Welcome to the show, man. It's been a while.
It has, we have been trying to do this for a while, and it's just always something that's gotten in the way.
Yeah.
And I've watched most of your videos, so I've been a big fan of the work because your style and what you bring to YouTube is quite different than what my knowledge and skill set is. So there's a lot of stuff that I learned from your videos and just the way that you piece them together, and also the fact that I'm a Michael Palmer fan and you beat me up there to Vermont. So, I had to watch those. It'd be doggone it. I was gonna film that.
Uh, wait. I'm gonna be with Mike in Chile, in Apimondia. It's gonna be a lot of content coming from there with Mike. So stay tuned.
I'm really looking forward to that. It was my plan to be down there with you guys at Epimondia, and things have happened and it hasn't worked out this year. But I trust that if you see anything cool, you're going to let me know so
Yep.
I can think about that for what we're doing.
I'll keep trying to make people go to Apimondia. It's really good. Yeah,
It looks
if you never
awesome.
did, you should. It's very unique. All right, Cayman, I what I'd like to talk to you today is very related with the things that I do for a
Hmm.
living. I am a guy very concerned about the industry. I'm trying to help companies to bring innovations to the industry. Help commercial beekeepers to optimize operations. Help commercial beekeepers to do private research. They want to do experiment themselves. I help them. That's the things that I do normally in my daily basis. And I always observing the industry and the people that are trying to do good things, and you're always in my radar. You're always, with your way, simple, clear message, transparent. You, you just did something, in my opinion, that was really amazing with your channel, educating people, creating a community, and the sense of community that I get from your channel and your people is something that people, you should be proud, and your community should be proud too. It's beautiful, and you and
Thank you.
you just use that power to create innovation. And I'm always following that. Oh, this is a doer. This guy get things done. I like to see. I follow your channel for a while since you were exploding some hives for fun. Do you remember that video?
I do quite well.
The, so yeah, I'm following your channel very closely for a while, and I want to ask you a couple questions. Like, what motivates you to keep generating this innovation? For example, right now you're bringing a completely new conference to the beekeeping industry, and the way I know I'm pretty sure you're gonna deliver something unique and amazing. And I want to ask you, what motivates you? Because there's a lot of energy. I can tell you that. And what keep you going forward, man?
One, I've always had a propensity to want to be very good at what I do. It's not that I want the praise, but I was raised, if you're going to do something, do it very well. And I think also this is something maybe people don't know about me, but I struggle sometimes with feeling like I'm doing good enough. And so I think that propels me to push harder. But the other side of that would be I'm not very happy with a lot of stuff in the bee industry. When I was a teenager and I was going to a lot of events and I was going and doing things and looking at things, I was not very happy with the education available to me. I struggled with a lot of stuff at 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, early 20s that I should not have been struggling with. the information in Tennessee was not good. In some ways, it's still not good. And that made me upset. And I'm like, this is ridiculous, because if there's one thing I've learned over the years, beekeepers like talking about bees. They won't shut up about them.
Oh yeah.
And, so why in the world would you not have a lot of energy at a bee conference when there's beekeepers talking about bees, and you have bee gear, and you have hopefully a couple new products in there, and now you have some, maybe it's a researcher, or it's a professional, or it's a small sideliner who's very good at what they do at a sideline level, and they're teaching you how to become better. What more could you ask for? But then you go to these events, and it's boring. It's absolutely boring. So that's what motivates me. And the YouTube was based off of my experiences at some of the Tennessee events. I'm like, you know what? I know that I am not the best beekeeper out there. There's way more qualified people to do this than me, but I know I can at least help my fellow Tennessee beekeeper. And that's what my YouTube channel was for, because I didn't understand YouTube. I just thought I would be able to do a YouTube channel just for Tennesseans, and it went way beyond that.
Yeah, I have similar sentiment on that. My YouTube channel, I think my first video, in the whole thing, it started with the necessity that I learned when I was visiting Thailand 7 years ago. I don't even know. And I met Tropile Labs, and I saw the possibility of that beast arriving here. That I got desperate, and I said, I need to do something about. People need to know about this.
Mm.
I was the first one that brought Tropile Labs to the YouTube world, I believe, to trying to educate, so. Trying to let people know. Look, we need to be careful moving bees, because if this little guy come here, it's 10 times worse than varroa mite. And in that movement of that sentiment of desperation, that was my boom, I need to do something. And then I start this video. And it was, of course, our first videos are kind of crappy, but
yes, I go back and look at my first videos and go, oh.
I know the feeling, but I think that's normal. Yeah,
you're exactly right, though. And what motivates me quite a bit, seeing problems like Tropile Labs, or Asian hornets moving in eventually, or stuff like that, is we need to be informed. We need to be prepared. And as a community, we don't get a lot of support, because beekeeping is a very small part of agriculture. It's an important part of agriculture, but it's very small, and so we don't get a lot of the money thrown at it. And I think it's that's good to some degree, that we have a lot of freedoms, but also I think that's where it's even more important that the beekeepers and researchers work together in tandem to be able to solve our issues and then educate each other quickly, because I was struggling early on with basic fundamental information that now I can teach somebody in a handful of months if they watch enough videos. And it's not that the YouTube video can never replace getting into the bees and doing that, but at least we can help steer the direction of education to where, some people think that it is absolutely the worst thing ever to feed bees anything. And sometimes you got to feed your bees. And so that's where I hope the YouTube channel comes in, and it's like, hey, it's okay to feed your bees. Sometimes you need to do that. Sometimes they need a leg up. Sometimes that fall flow doesn't show up. And as YouTubers, it's a big responsibility. And maybe what has pushed me to go this far is the fact that I used to complain a lot back when I had no ability to do anything about the situation. I remember in my 20s, 18, 19, when all that time, that I would complain about, why is this not better? Why is this conference not better? Why is the educational system in Tennessee not better? And I couldn't do anything about it then, but I can do a little bit of something about it now. And so I think it would be very irresponsible and almost borderline a sin to not take advantage of this opportunity that I've been given to help my fellow beekeepers out. And a lot of times, the best information that I give people comes from maybe sharing one of your videos or sharing one of Bob's videos or sharing another video. So this isn't the Kamon Reynolds show. This is a community of information sharing, and hopefully all together we're going to be able to do some really fun stuff.
Uh, you said it right. It is a community. It's just like a colony, a honeybee colony. If we don't share the things, the whole colony goes away. I
Mm,
feel that as the industry. The industry need to get together. Yes, we are small, but our importance is so big that we should be recognized in better ways. And there are people fighting for that. I know
mm-hmm.
people fighting for that. I am helping people, big guys. I live here close to DC. We have things going on trying to change in a bigger picture, but it's not easy. Yeah. And but
A
you're
lot of work.
it's a lot of work and a lot of work. So before we jump in, because I want to know more about this new enterprise that you're bringing to the table, and I want to know the details, time, tickets of availability and everything. But before we go there, I need to do uh, something that I need to do for a long time ago. I want to say thank you to a special guy from Brian, if you're there, from Castle Hives. I want to say thank you because he sent me something so nice. The A 3D hive with all the things, they have a super, deeper, uh, everything. It's perfect. So many details, and I just want to say thank you. You know, it's so cool. I can play with this the whole the whole
they
day.
they are awesome. He had
Yeah.
it in the past. I got to see one, and it'd be probably cool to take that to like a classroom or something like that. But
Oh,
um,
wait! I'm making videos with this educational videos because I don't know if you know I become allergic to bees like really bad. I can die. And one
mm,
sting took me to the hospital. I pass out. I black out. I stop breathing in Florida. I don't know how many years ago, and now it's kind of scary. So I need to so that I need to be careful. The other thing that he sent me for this big varroa, man, that's so cool. It's really detailed, beautiful. I can use in my educational part of the channel too.
it's creepy.
Yeah, it's very creepy. My new hat.
It's like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah. No, so Brian, thank you very much for the gift, man. So I'm leaving here the link of his YouTube channel if you want to follow what Brian is doing on YouTube or check it out. I think he has some of those to sell. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Well designed, well made. Brian, thank you. So so tell me, I have something here. Wait a second. Here we go. Tell me about this because I'm curious.
Well, so we'll start with the name. It's
Yes.
it's hard to figure out what to name something, and I really hate naming things because everything I feel like that I pick is absolutely terrible. However, um, there was a lot of different ideas tossed around, and we definitely didn't want to step on any other bee conference's toes. So I would really like the idea of going with the North American Honeybee Expo because we really hope we've had a lot of Canadians in the past, but I hope that more people from all over North America, whether that's south of the United States or north of the United States, will choose to be a part of this event and bring their unique ways of beekeeping. So obviously, it's based out of the United States, but um, I, I really want to see it be kind of a North American thing. So that's kind of the reason behind that name, and we do have a lot. I think last time I ran a conference, I had 14 countries represented, and it's definitely looking like we're going to top that nicely this year. And so it's awesome to see all that diversity and methods and technology and information. And as far as the dates go, it's just that first weekend in January. It's a great time for a lot of our speakers and our vendors. And the Kentucky Exposition Center gives us a lot of room to work with. Last year and in past years, we've had issues with space. This is going to be awesome for the vendors to be able to just bring in Well, so one of the vendors I talked to today is getting 14 10 by 10 spaces and is reserving a dock space.
Wow.
And I wouldn't be shocked if they by themselves brought 3 semi loads worth of product.
Wow.
You know, so that's super exciting to see all of that bee supplies. And this Kentucky Expo Center has a lot of hotels. And the best part about this for those who are far away from Kentucky is that a lot of these hotels nearby, you can fly in, get a shuttle to these hotels, and some of these, and this information will come before too long, you can actually get a shuttle from the hotel to the Expo Center. So that'll make it very convenient for folks that are out of the country or on the other side of the country to fly in. And our other places we had run before just didn't have that option.
It's pretty cool. I was wondering, big loads with the big trucks. How can they deliver in that area? I was looking the area. There is. Can you use good big trucks there, semis, to unload the things? It's easy to for
Oh
these
yeah.
guys to. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's one of the hardest parts about finding an expo center because a lot of them are not centered around a big trade show, especially one that is selling a lot of product. We sell a ton of product, and so you have to have a lot of moving parts in a lot of dock spaces. So as far as semi trucks go and getting those in and big trucks and trailers, um, I used to drive a semi truck. If for those who don't know that, and I mean, I can do all kinds of. I could bring 500 semis into this facility. There's that much parking, and
Wow.
so I don't know how many people we'll have this year, but I know that we have the capability to do way beyond what we've ever done in the past, and parking won't be an issue at all for the vendors. Even if they bring in what I expect to be at least 2 dozen semi loads of product on the conservative side, we'll have no problem handling 24 semis.
Fantastic. So I want to see this happening. So tell me about the logistics a little bit. How you just create this from zero? Like what kind of how many people? Tell me a little bit about how much work is involved on that, and how brain power too, because that consumes a lot of your.
It hurts,
It
Roberto.
hurts,
It
yeah.
really hurts. So, I really love working on this. Getting back into this has been awesome, but I have averaged almost 15 days the last 3 days, 15 hours a day for the last 3 days. Um,
Ouch.
you know,
Ouch.
we are getting some people to help, and I do have some people that are already helping. I mentioned Chris, the bee wizard. That's what I call him because he's always doing all this technological stuff that I have no idea how it works. And my wife, I mean, she's you know right in tandem with me. So if I'm putting in 10 hours, she's putting in 10 hours. Hers are more productive usually because she's smarter than I am, but I'm still trying my best. And so that's Laurel and I are a lot of it, and then we have several other people behind the scenes. So it takes a massive amount of people at the event to do stuff, but the planning primarily is done by about 6 people, and it probably needs to be done by more, but finding the right people for that is difficult with the right skill set, and a lot of people already have jobs. And the other thing is we could hire a company to come in and do this, but it's so expensive,
Yeah.
ridiculous. And we would have to charge people like another $60 per person to hire somebody who's probably not going to put the attention to detail that I want for beekeepers. And so I micromanage this thing, and I've been told it's a little too much. So um, I am super excited though because we have crazy stuff in store for this year. Crazy stuff.
I'm happy to hear that. I'm really happy to hear that because I was involved of helping Epimondia in the past and doing that kind of logistic. And Epimondia is gigantic, and I was just thinking, oh man, I want the distance from that is too much. It's a lot of stuff, and calling the people, people calling you all the time. you can't do anything else. I don't know how you can keep your bees and do all the stuff.
It's very, very difficult. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to continue to downsize my operation as this kind of stuff continues to be more and more of a job for me. And so it is what it is. The way I look at it, in a roundabout way, I get to be a part of keeping a lot more bees. If we can help a lot of people out, whether it's coming listening to Bob Binney or Cameron Jack or Blake Shook or any of these guys and gals here, and there's several more people to be announced. By the way, I've got a lot of people pending, so be watching out for that. Definitely a couple more researchers I'm trying to get in. However, if these people come in and can learn from these folks how to keep bees sustainably and productively, well, even if I don't have a few hundred hives of bees and I only have 75 to 100, I kind of get to take a part in their bee ventures, and that's pretty awesome. I want the problems of the future to not be the problems that they were for me. And early on, it was, I'm losing my shirt, losing my bees. I want people's problems to eventually be, hey, I need to figure out a better way to market all this honey. I need a better way to market all this because I'm so productive. That's the problems I want to be dealing with in the future.
Yeah, I deal with these things a lot of times. We need to define what successful is in beekeeping, because
Mm-hmm.
when I help beekeepers, there is a lot of misunderstanding what successful is. Some people say I need to produce a lot, but then you can't sell, or sell so cheap you can't keep your operation. There is a lot of business involved, and I don't know how much is the fraction. It's 50-50. No bees and no business. You need to know business too, otherwise you'll be in trouble. But there is a lot that going on with the business side.
So I want to say a quick hi to Ian. He said something earlier that I thought was funny, which he said, beekeepers are essentially a small group of diverse misfits, which I think sums it up pretty nicely. And HD Honeybee asked if there's handicap access. There totally is. We'll have wheelchair access. We're hoping to. I'm trying to find somebody who can do a good job on um, beekeeping for those who do have some disabilities, and so that there can be something for them as well. A lot of logistics going into. And Redfish says, "Roll Tide Cayman." That's football stuff right there. Almost football season. Thank you, Redfish, for bringing that to our attention. Where's that Alabama hat? Where is that thing?
Yeah.
So,
So
um, so on this person says on the stream team that they're excited about the honey swap. Yeah, that's I love collecting honeys. Humberto's probably seen at least as much or more different flavors of and colors of honey that I have, and I want other people to be able to experience that as well at our conference. And so I'm hoping with the honey swap, people are going to be able to just be exposed to thousands of jars of honeys that they can,
tell me
swap.
about that. My audience might not know completely what the details of your
Yeah.
enterprise. If you can give a little details, gonna be great.
All right. So, for example, whether you're a beekeeper that produces 60 pounds of honey a year, and like Humberto said, everyone's definition of success is different, but maybe you just want to keep 3 hives of bees and keep them alive and make, 10 gallons of honey or something like that a year from eating and friends. At our conference, you can bring a portion of that. Let's say you do a half-pound jar. Now, these are pound jars. So we've got to decide a uniform size for everybody. But I'm really leaning towards a half-pound because 10 pounds of honey will go into 20 half-pound jars. And now, if there's 500 beekeepers that choose to participate, you can swap with any one of them. And it might be someone from Hawaii or Canada or Tennessee or wherever. And it's amazing because just within my state, one of my friends, Gus Mitchell, produces canola honey. I'm sorry, cotton honey. And then another one of my friends, Ryan, he produces canola honey up in northern Tennessee. and then I produce a totally different type of honey. It's a lot of tulip, poplar, and blackberry. And then over towards the mountains, they make sourwood honey, and they all taste and look totally different. So I absolutely think that's totally bizarre and cool. I want other people at the conference to be able to just bring theirs and swap them out
I see.
with whoever they want to, and be able to take those home, and that'll be kind of a neat little collector's thing, right?
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a very interesting idea. Yeah, to know more. Uh, yeah, I can help with that. I can bring honey from lots of places.
That's what I'm thinking. And I've even heard over in like I don't think it was Turkey, or maybe it was Turkey. They have like a honey that's actually hot, like almost like a pepper
Oh
honey.
yeah, yeah.
And
Yes, I
now,
forgot the name. Yes, Turkey in that region. We have some in South America too. What's the name of that? Oh yeah, honey is fun.
yeah.
Um,
So it's honey is so diverse, and I think that's important in of itself that new beekeepers get exposed to. You know, this is a very diverse industry that we're in, and some people like I did a video a while back, and it's gotten a lot of views, thankfully, from people who are non-beekeepers as well. And I talked about crystallized honey and how that didn't mean that it was contaminated or fake honey. Now, in some regions of the world, though, honey that is like this is considered fake because that's in their culture, maybe the honey that grows in that region never crystallizes, and so maybe for generations the only stuff they've ever seen crystallize was something that was brought in that may have been fraudulent. But in many parts of the world, like those crazy beekeepers like Ian up in Canada who just make all that canola honey, that crystallization is a very real thing.
yeah, I like the idea. What else is going on in the meeting?
Well, someone asked the question, when is it going to start? And so there's a lot of different options that we have in front of us, and we're not 100% sure on everything yet. But last time, I had what we called a meet and a greet on the Thursday, and that would give folks 3 hours to be able to just spend time hanging out with each other. And in the vendor hall, maybe they'll run into a person they've watched their YouTube videos, and they can buy stuff and just hang out. And so that was very well liked, and we're going to continue to do that. But I am thinking that on the Thursday there'll be an opening ceremony. It won't be anything too crazy. I'm going to get up there and thank my wife and cry a few tears, those kinds of things.
It's
Not.
important. It's important.
And just and thank a couple of the amazing people who put in stupid amounts of hours to make this possible. But then after that, I'll probably have a keynote get up there, maybe one of the researchers or someone like Bob, to give a presentation. But the trade show will be open this whole time. So anyone who would like to just go in the trade show and go buy an extractor at a discounted price, well, knock your socks off. Have at it. So that's what we're looking at the Thursday. I'll be all day Friday and Saturday. We've got some really exciting. I can't tell everybody everything quite yet.
Come
Tickets will.
on.
I
Come
know, I
on.
know, I know. You're wanting all the scoops.
Nobody's watching. Come on. You
Nobody's
can
watching.
say.
So the tickets should be available by Wednesday of next week,
All
and
right.
so that will be probably a mad rush for that. But based on the past, people will at least have a couple months to get their tickets. It's usually when people start waiting towards late October and mostly early November, December. That's when things can get booked up. And so, but we're planning on we're expanding past what we've done in the past, so there should be a good bit of room.
All right.
So
Let me
I had
let,
it. Go ahead,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead. Because
So
I
I
got.
was just going to say, as far as the vendors go, we've already got enough vendors that have emailed us to be as bigger than we've ever been before, and we're just getting started. So any of the people who are watching this that want to see a vendor there, or if you are interested in being a vendor, you just email me at nahbebk basically the initials of the conference, vendor@gmail.com. And we will be sending out all vendor information August 1st to anyone who emails us there. And there will be availability after that too. But for those who are wondering, why I haven't got back to them, it's probably because I got 400 emails that I need to get back to, and I just haven't quite got to yours yet. But as soon as I get off of here, I'll be sending vendor emails out again.
All right. So I want to ask you about this. Tell me about these guys. Who is coming? Who is already confirmed? And there is any other names that is not here that is already confirmed too?
All right. So as far as our VIP list, most people know Bob Binney. He has a great
Yeah.
YouTube channel. Bob is a very nice individual who has been at every one of our conferences, and I've told him, you don't have to speak, but I want you there, because he's been with us the entire time, and so has Randy McCaffrey below him, and so some of these guys are kind of helped us build this and help us get it going. And we have David Burns, and he was there last year, and of course he's got a big YouTube channel as well, and he's got a lot of fans, and so we know that a lot of people like to watch these guys like David and Fred Dunn and Mr. Ed or Jeff Horshoff, whichever you like to call him. And and of course there's Natalie Summers down there too, and she's making me feel very old because she's doing so much, and she's only 15. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I met her in West Virginia, and I felt the same. Yep.
And then we got Jose coming back this year. We haven't had him as a speaker before, so he's going to be talking on some of the commercial beekeeping out there in California. And so those guys right there have a good YouTube following, and they have a lot of people that like them. And this is an opportunity for you to be able to say thanks or meet these guys and gals and maybe get to talk to them for a little bit. That's what it's kind of about. But they're all very great. And of course, there's Blake Shook over here. He's got an internet following as well. Wow, internet following. I sounded like my grandpa. But Blake is a very accomplished commercial beekeeper and businessman in this industry, and he's a personal friend, and I really like him quite a bit. I kind of consider him a rival too. I look at what Blake's doing. I'm like, he's outpacing me. I've got to run faster.
Here you go.
But
that's good. They're stimulating each other.
Yeah. Well, it's like Blake. I remember reading an article in the American Bee Journal, and he was 15. I was 16, and this kid had like a couple hundred hives, and at that point I probably had like 15 or something like that, and I was just like, man, this guy's blowing the lid off of this thing, but I remember thinking several years after that, I wonder if he stuck with it or not. And of course Blake's a big name in beekeeping in a lot of different ways, so I really think that like with our youth program that we have, what we're looking for is some of the next Blake Shooks, to be honest. They don't all have to be running businesses and running 10,000 hives in a huge operation, but even if they just want to have a sideline operation and do something else, that's awesome. So we will be having a youth program, and it was amazing to see how many of these young men and women were so skilled already. Several of them were grafting queens, were making splits, were making honey. At an age I didn't know how to graft queens. I wasn't splitting properly. And of course Natalie's educating people on top of it all. And some of those young men and women are doing that as well. So that's really what that youth program is about, is getting them in. I want them to see that there's a huge community here for them to grow into and to become a part of. And I hope that they'll learn to network, because beekeepers are no different than bees. We really need the hive and the community to be able to grow and be successful. And nobody knows everything, but if there's thousands of us, that collective information information share is very, very powerful.
It is mandatory. It is very crucial to have that. With the system, the kind of farm that we do with so many variables that we can't control, the only way to fight that back is with the maximum amount of information you can get, and put those informations together to work for your environment, for your operation, for your type of hand. It's you have to keep getting more information and more information. Tell
And
me about the vendors, Kamon.
I,
Everybody's here. Can you talk about that? Or
I absolutely can. I can talk about those vendors. Lots of dirt, lots of dirt. Um, so right before I hop into that, I'm going to say, Corey Stevens is actually on the Stevens Bee Co. He does a lot of stuff with VSH and artificial insemination. Of course, we'll have Richard Noel back this year. I'm actually just bringing him in as a VIP guest. I'm not sure he's going to speak this year, and some of these people won't be. They'll be there to say, hey, because this is a community event. There's education, but this is an opportunity to network and communicate. And Jake Osborne's a friend in Kentucky, and Brett's English runs our honey show, and so he's going to be giving classes on how beekeepers can not only enter honey shows better, but also display a better product out in fairs and storefronts and all that. So Etienne Tardif is north of the 60th parallel up in the Yukon. I really think a lot of his research, and he's just a nice guy in general. So more to be announced. But as far as the vendors go, this is just the tip of the iceberg right here.
wow.
We're just getting warmed up. So, Apis Biologics is a Canadian company. They produce what Ian calls rocket fuel products for pollen sub, and basically, I really like the concept behind it. There's some research starting to be done, and I'm anxious to see how that turns out. But the concept is basically studying pollen, studying nectar. What does it have? How does it interact with the bees? And let's try to duplicate that as straightforward as possible. And I really like that idea because beekeeping is really all about mimicking nature. I mean, when we feed sugar syrup, it's because we're attempting to mimic nectar. It's not nectar, but the closer we can get to truly mimicking nature, the better off we're going to be. So that's what they're trying to do. The Apame folks, I'm sure you see them at Apamundi and all over the place. They've got the insulated plastic hives made out of USA plastic. I really like Korhan and Arda and his family, and that's really what I love about this. Not all the companies are this way, but a lot of them are. When you go to these trade shows, you get to meet the people behind the products, and it's amazing. Several of these companies are very interested in talking to guys like you and the people in your chat group, learning what it is that they want. And sometimes, like this with Apame, I've seen this before, where several of the people that buy their products are like, hey, why don't you try this? And they'll actually go and change the molds, which is not cheap.
Oh, so
And
they listen the
they
customers.
they they listen to the beekeepers. What a
That,
foreign concept.
wow.
But that's why they have a following like they do. And the Apame fans are pretty diehard Apame fans. Of course, Blue Ridge Honey Company, that's Bob Benny's company. I talked to him on the phone today, and he's planning on bringing out an exceptional amount of stuff. HDO lids, I mean, this is commercial grade stuff. And, if Bob makes it, it's going to be very, very good. So it'll probably last a couple decades based off of what I've seen. I've seen some of his older equipment when I visited him, and some of that stuff was like, well, it wasn't as old as me, but I was a kid when it was made, and it was still perfectly functional. So he's going to have all kinds of his stuff and some T-shirts. The Be Informed Partnership, obviously, they do a lot of educating and are involved in some research. They are going to be represented there and share knowledge and information. And they, Eric was there in the past, and he's a little wacky, but he's a really good guy. Better Bee, people love Better Bee and the licensed products that they carry, or leasin, depends on how you say it. And they offer a lot of things, and Better Bee has a lot of awesome people like David Peck, and I hope that we've had him speak in the past, and I don't know if he'll speak this year. We try to rotate some new people in it, but um, how we got him at the first time he spoke for us, it was not planned, and we had someone drop out last minute, and we had to get somebody. I was like, man, who are we gonna get? Like 3 days out, a week out, or whatever it was, and David did an awesome job. And the only thing I ever said that was a problem, he was like 99% perfect, but the 0.1% or whatever, 1% was he's so bald, and the glare off of his head always is rough on the cameras, and so him and I have had that discussion, and he's a good sport about it. I love David. So Comfort Pro, they have all kinds of different bee suits. Dogwood Ridge is up in Indiana. They make their own woodenware. They are one of the few companies that have been with us since the beginning. They have never missed a lick. Dwayne and Kimberly just have a wonderful, awesome operation outside of Evansville, and it's like going back in time, good old days, customer service, high quality stuff. The Dirt Rooster Enterprises, that's Randy McCaffrey. You know, some people buy that merchandise when they feel sorry for him and feel like they need to support him. But yeah, he's been there every year as well, him and his wife Elizabeth. If it wasn't for Elizabeth, that booth would probably look like a shack or something like that. Ferris Farms, my buddy Byron, he will cream honey there in person, and you can watch his licensed creamer make it. You can talk to them all day long, and they'll teach you tips and tricks on how to make a good creamed honey. And also they are selling the seed from it, so you can purchase that there and take that home and use that, because they use all natural. They'll take honey, natural crystals, and they have a technique to getting it down to the right consistency, and then they'll sell that basically starter, and then you can take that home and mix your own up and get a really nice consistency. So we like to have that interactive stuff there, and then they give out free samples, and I eat like 30 of them over
Here
2
we go.
days. That's how I keep going. It's the buzz.
Yep.
So we have Guardian Bee Apparel. They do a lot of different bee suits. They're known for having like that front zipper on theirs that people like to have the quick access. Hilco does all kinds of extractors, and they're just they do all kinds of general bee supplies. They have a massive booth every year, and John always pulls out all the stops, and a lot of these companies have discounts. So John always has discounts on his stuff, and so one of the things that we say is that if you buy a halfway decent amount of stuff, you pay for your ticket at least. And some people that buy a lot of stuff, they'll pay for their hotel and their ticket on the discounts, and that really helps people out. We understand that this is an expense, and we try to do what we can to get some deals for people. And thankfully, the companies are, it kind of is a twofold thing. If we get a big crowd, the companies are willing to play ball.
Yeah,
And
it is a win-win.
it's a win-win. So Hive IQ is a company that out of Australia, and they are working their way into the U.S. with their polystyrene hives that are made very interesting because they have a lot of additions, like a pollen trap in the bottom of them. They're planning on having sensors and stuff. I have some of the newer technology side of it. I think they're still sending that out and working on the logistics, but it's very interesting. I'm watching them closely, and they're a lot of fun to talk to. My wife, yeah, she likes the accents. She'll listen to the Australians or the Irish guys come, and probably you too, Humberto. She's like, oh, they just have such nice accents, and I'm like, what about your husband? What about my accent? She's like, yeah, you don't really have one.
Yep.
So
The,
the hives for
the wife's
yeah,
love. I know how it works. I know how it works.
So Hives for Heroes, they've got a wonderful program for vets, and they just bring out a bunch of teams. And I love the community that they have, because it's such a community of serving and helping, which is something that we would like to be a part of. And so we're glad they're coming back again this year. Honeybee Tennessee also, it kind of falls in that category, except it's not for veterans. They do a lot of education, not only in Tennessee, but in other states with a lot of youth. School programs, stuff at zoos, various things like that, where you get a lot of these young people who might never have gotten exposed to honeybees before. So the Honeybee Tennessee program really focuses on education all over the place, but they do a really, really good job with young children. Horizontal hives, horizontal bees, they've been with us since the beginning. Ricky and his wife, they make these awesome horizontal beehives, and I've got a couple of them. You know, my bees survive just fine in Tennessee with them. Part of the reason I wanted to do the videos is just to show, hey, it's the hive is really more for the beekeeper than it is for the bees. I mean, there is certain things that do help our bees out, but at the end of the day, the quality of the bees in the hive, and if they've got a good queen, they've got plenty of nutrition, and they don't have any pest problems, they're going to do very, very good. And so if I stand behind that. We produced 100 pounds out of one of his horizontal hives, so, but we did put a lot of work in there and killed all the mites the year before. We did alcohol washes and showed all that. And so those guys will be there. Larabi's, I never can get that. I've been dealing with these guys for 2 years. I still can't get it. Rob makes these vaporizers, and they also have the the instant vap, the battery powered vaporizer. You've probably seen those, and they'll have those at the conference, and they usually have some specials, and those are some really nice vaporizers for using oxalic acid. And of course, everyone knows of Man Lake, and then there's Mother Lode out of California, all that USA plastic. I'm really excited to see Nick come back. They're really innovating a lot at Mother Lode. Before, they were really just known for frame feeders and maybe one or two other products, and they're definitely, with the new leadership, they are changing things up tremendously over there in a way that I think that's going to be really beneficial. It's already beneficial to the commercial industry, but I think it'll be helpful to the smaller guys like us. Speaking of Brian earlier with Castle Hives, he's on the stream team with Greg with Nature's Image Farm, and yep. Those yahoos, they come to the conference and they set up their podcasting booth. And
I saw, beautiful.
That's so much fun.
It's fun.
It's so much fun to watch it, because they'll bring you on for 10 minutes and they'll bring on some guy that no one's ever heard of before that just wanted to sit down, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's what the soul of the thing. There is a lot of passionate people around. I love those guys. You can feel the passion. They want to talk about their thing and want to transmit information to other people. They just care about people. That's important.
So as I'm kind of looking over to the right, I noticed that Mike says, any new research on nosema? That's something that maybe you and I can talk about afterwards, Humberto. It would be good to have some nosema
stuff. You guys need nosema stuff?
I don't have a track for that right now. And down here in the South, it's not as big of a concern, but it's still useful to know that stuff. So that's something, let's talk about that later. And yep. This fella from Nevada says, how much does it cost to come? I'm a new beekeeper, want to learn all I can. Typically, in the past, it's been around $185 to $200, depending on if you get tickets early or not, and that includes meals. Now, we're going to get a little bit creative on some things with that, so we're hoping to be able to, well, you'll see. It'll be up in a week, and
come on.
I know. I'm such a tease. But it seems maybe like a lot, but that's where, for the people who can drive, they can take stuff back, and also we film everything as well. So for the folks that just can't make it, there will be videos sold afterwards where you can watch all of the education. Unfortunately, you can't experience it yourself, but it's the next best thing. We've got Nod apiary products, and that's the fellows that make Formic Pro and Mite Away quick strips, and they're great. Tom Nolan is usually the representative I deal with, and Tommy's great. I always thought Canadians were just super chill and nice, like you hear, but Tom's a lot of fire. I think he'd fit in down here with us guys in Tennessee and Kentucky, no problem. If he could just get rid of that Canadian accent, he'd fit right on in. He's got that personality. But no, they have great Formic products, very clean for the hive. No Pec, they sell a really advanced vacuum for like professional hive removals, and I think they offer a couple other things, but that's primarily what they're known for. And Tony is great to work with. He's got a serious beard. I just saw him in Illinois, and yeah, I can't grow a beard like that. My brother can, but not me. Pierce Beekeeping. This is one of the exciting stories, and a lot of this is just makes me very happy. So Pierce has been around since the 40s. They make good American-made products, but a lot of people don't know that they exist. It's getting better, but the problem is beekeeping. A lot of our industry has been stuck in the 60s, in the 70s, and marketing that way. And I like old-fashioned stuff. I got old bee books. I like beekeeping because it is a lot of times old-fashioned smokers, hive tools, bee suits. That's my world. But it's 2023. Marketing's changed. And so we were looking for unique stuff to bring in, especially USA made. I reached out to Pierce, and thankfully they were open to it. And it ended up being a really nice marriage between they really needed some new marketing and we needed some unique product. And so thankfully that's worked out really good. And, you know, you just don't want to see these companies go away. I don't want to see the U.S. manufacturing go away in beekeeping. And so they've listened to several of their customers. They created that new comb cutter and made all that comb
Yeah,
board.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw.
And so I love companies that are willing to innovate. Obviously, there's several more here. Pigeon Mountain Training, they have all kinds of stuff. Laura and her team, everything from soaps to bee supplies, they've got it. Premier, of course, is known for their foundation, and now they've got their frames and their boxes. I really like their frames. They you know, when they were designing them, they asked some beekeepers like myself, you know, what do you think would be good in a frame? So they were listening to beekeepers right out of the gate, and I said, hey, talk to the commercial guys. They'll tell you. And they were like, make sure it runs through an automatic uncapper good, and design it around that. So they went to Cowan and guys like that and said, hey, what do you guys need to run through your automatic machines? And so they designed a frame that's a lot more like the frames of old, and it's like almost an eighth of an inch thicker than my Man Lake frames.
Mm.
And so I like that stronger frame. But anyways, they have that kind of product. Rossman has been our biggest supporter of our youth program every year. They do a lot of packaged bees and, of course, general bee supply, cypress equipment. And, you know, Alan is a little rough to deal with. He's one of those country bumpkins down there. But they're great people. The Revolutionary Hives, they've got all kinds of supplies as well. Everything from one side to the other, and a couple new things that you'll see at the conference if you go. Strong Microbials, they specialize in probiotics for bees, and they have some new products. They have a new fondant product, which I've got 40-something pounds to try. I'm interested to see how that works with my bees. It's got a mixture of the Apis Biologics. Blake Shook, his company, the Bee Supply, they sell everything. And they also have the commercial bee supply, which is where I got my automatic feeding system. They've got all kinds of stuff, and they have a great thick bee suit. The Easy C mounts into your suit. You can look through it. The Hive Butler, that's a lot of people are using that. They've got an uncapping tank option. They've got it for pulling honey and keeping robbers out. A lot of people like the Hive Butler, and you know, for my size of operation, personally, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And so that's where it's hard for me to understand somebody else's situation. But there's a friend of mine. He was the first person to ever support our channel monetarily, named Harvey Schumann. He's up in the New England area, and he has his bees on his roof. And he's an elderly gentleman. That doesn't stop him from doing it, though. And he's got this like trap door in his roof, and he takes these hive butlers and he lowers them down with this pulley system. It's so cool. And, you know, so that's what this conference is about. You know, even though, you know, I might speak on something, there's so many different ways to do it. And so sometimes running into someone like Harvey Schumann might be the best conversation you have. And he's just a guy keeping bees on his roof, rigging up a trap door and a pulley system. I wonder what his wife thinks about that. I need to ask. Uh, um, Thorn manufacturing is another exciting thing that we're involved with. This fellow right here is my age, in his early 30s, and he's building USA-made extractors on capping tanks. He's got a great wax melter separator. He's got a couple new products he's going to launch for this next conference, all made to last and last and last. And he's sending these products to me and other commercial beekeepers. I'm not a commercial beekeeper. I'm a small professional, and testing them out beforehand. So by the time they get in your hands, these babies are ready to work for 50 plus years. So I really like that. Just don't drop it on your toe.
Yeah, good to know.
Veda Pharma, they obviously make Apivar and so many other products. I did an interview with them recently. I'll be uploading that soon, and they obviously are an important part of the industry doing research into products. Whiskey Trail Bees, they are a Tennessee-based company. They're really well known for their hive stands, and they also have a honey straw machine, which is really cool. And you can go to Whiskey Trail Bees and see these adjustable hive stands. They're really more made for like putting machinery on. They're way overbuilt. So you'll never have to worry about your bees sagging the equipment. Wick Wasp Press. I got to meet Larry Connor in Illinois, and I had a wonderful conversation.
Great
So
guy.
much history. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
got so
great guy.
much history and bee knowledge, and of course, I love bee books. So
Yeah. So
if
that's the
you
guy. Yeah. If you want a
that's
book,
the guy for
the
bee books.
book, that's the guy.
More to be announced. This is not even the half of it. All right.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I've got about 60 to 70 vendors who have already sent in stuff that are not on this list. So
Holy
that
guacamole.
that doesn't mean that they'll all be there, because some of them are like, hey, I sell magical crystals, and I've actually had that. These crystals, and we put comb in them, and it's cosmos energies and bee energies and all this, and it's just really good. And I'm just like, I don't know what you're smoking, but we don't need that at the conference. This is the bee conference. Sorry to be so rude, but we're really focused on making sure that quality gets in the door. We get a lot of companies, and some of the companies from out of the U.S. are awesome, like Swinty. Really looking forward to seeing them again. They're not on the list, but they're coming, and so they have all kinds of amazing products. But then you get some of these guys who are really cutthroat and selling some cheap stuff from China, unfortunately, and so we make sure to kind of vet those guys out, because we want the people that listen to the beekeepers to be the ones that get your business.
That's a good way to select. Yeah. You need to hear, you need to listen to people, the consumers.
So
That's
so
business 101.
so
Yeah.
sorry, I
No,
went
no,
on a
I love it.
rampage there.
I think that's important. These guys make things happen, and they need to have their names out there. Yeah, no problem at all.
Good deal. There's lots of questions.
Yeah, let's
Uh,
get some questions here, because it's a lot. So I don't even know where to start. So if you have some, just
yeah, I think I'll work my way up. So Lindsay Homestead Farm says, is Copper Canyon going to be selling their coffee beans? So right now, talking to the caterers, it looks like that's going to be an option that we can buy out and get Copper Canyon. The reason we like working with them is they roast the beans like a day or two before they get there. Super
wow,
fresh coffee.
that's
They
great.
work with the growers down in South America, and just really good business practice. And then on top of that, they make it fresh there, and the coffee is just so much better. And they're beekeepers too. So they really support a lot of bee activities, like our youth program. So the Dirt Rooster fell up there, which happens to be Randy McCaffrey, the one that I like to pick on. He's now picking on me, going, "Ooh, I like the title of small professional." Okay, I'm 5'6", okay, 149 whopping pounds. But Randy, I can outrun you any day of the week, and that's all that matters.
Okay, let's make that happen. I'll make a video about it.
That's right. As long as I can get out from his arm's reach, I should be safe. But
Uh oh.
if he gets his hands on me, it's all over. Uh, Randy used to do some, I think, boxing and wrestling and stuff. So, anyways, this question is Jed bringing a smaller size extractor for the sideliner? And last I heard, yes. Actually, I know a couple guys that have gotten his a smaller version, which I believe, if I'm correct, holds 9 deeps and 15 mediums. And I've got to see some of the videos of it, and it looks like people are going to be selling it, you know, maybe after I'm around. That's the thing. Like when I came into this industry, Humberto, I'm not the oldest guy, but thankfully I still came in at a time. One of my first trips was to Walter T. Kelly. I'm wearing the Walter T. Kelly old hat right here. And so I went up there, and they were still making their bee suits there. They had their own hive tool. They made all their metal there, their extractors, lifts, everything. They made their wooden boxes there. And I went there, and I mean, my mind was blown away. And that was one of the things we based the conference off of, was that feeling that I got, that when I saw that, I remember thinking that 33 frame extractor, one of these days I'm going to need one of those. And that became a goal. And I actually did eventually get by one of the 33 frame extractors. It was a used one, though, that was built in the 70s, early 70s. Still works just
It
fine.
still work?
The problem of it, it took like two very strong men to move it, because it was so overbuilt. But that's why it still works.
Yep.
So
The
that's
secret, the secret for good, build it well.
build it well, and that's kind of what I tell people: buy something, spend a little bit more money, but the resale value long term. I used a Dayton extractor for 13 years. I sold it for almost the same amount of money because of inflation 13 years later to a beekeeper, and it was in great shape. They're getting great use out of it, and that value is not lost for me or for that piece of equipment. I really don't like the society that we have created here in the U.S. of everything's just made to be disposable, and it can't be worked on.
Yeah.
So
That,
it's
yeah.
crazy.
That's yeah. There is goods and bads and on that culture. In the U.S. is a power because of innovation. So
Yeah, it's a
I think
balance.
it's hard to. You need to find balance. Yeah, we need to find balance.
So like this
So
person right here says, for the
which person?
conference fee, GG Drumright,
Okay.
at 7:52 p.m. So for the conference fee, it would be good to have options without meals for folks with dietary options that can't eat there. And so that's something that we actually were talking about today. And we're working through a lot of logistics, but I think we might have some very good news on that front. Not just for people with dietary options, but for just people who want to have choice. I really like having options. Um, you know, so we're really excited about that one. It looked very promising with what I was discussing with them today. Is there any information on the youth scholarships for the conference, says Sweet Ridge Farms? And I don't have any yet. What's going to happen? This is going to be in the next 3 to 4 weeks. We are going to ask young men and women between the ages of 18 and probably like 11 to send in an application, and it's nothing too fancy. What I ask, and I will be watching these videos, and no judgment, because I've made a lot of YouTube videos, and for every good YouTube video I've made probably 10 outtakes that were terrible. I have a lot of outtakes, and so don't worry about it, and we won't be sharing it with the world. I'll just have to watch it. But we want the young lady or young man to talk just a little bit about their bee experience and kind of what they'd like to do. And they don't have to say, hey, I want to be a commercial beekeeper with 10,000 hives. It could be, I want to have 5 to 10 hives, something, small and stay that way. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. We just kind of want to know what you're up to. The main thing I'm trying to get out of that is this person really serious about this? We only have so many spots. And I want to know, is this person really wanting to do this for the long haul? And so it'd be a short YouTube video, might be 2 or 3 minutes, and a little email, and that's it. And then we'll take that, we'll evaluate them all. I'm hoping that by the time the conference rolls around, we're going to have 30 spots for that, and that'll be great.
Very good.
Let's see here. That nosema topic, we definitely that one has been. I've been hearing a lot of people mention that up north here lately. I don't know much about that. So meet and greet Thursday night. Yeah, there's going to be a meet and greet. Absolutely, there might actually be a little extra stuff there. Jennifer asked, What day are the honey products going to be entered for judging?" So we are going to be bringing in a massive honey show team, and I've been coordinating with these fellows, and we're also thinking about having this on the website. It's going to take a little time to get there, but to where you can fill out your own applications before you get there. So basically, here's my application. They just review and go, "Yep, you entered everything properly." You give them the stuff, and you're done. So it's going to make the process faster. Plus, you're going to have a bigger team. So the goal is to have people be able to enter that in on Thursday as early as, after lunch. Maybe it's 1 or 2 p.m. And that way the judges can start evaluating a lot of it that first night, and get some of that work done. And then it'll end early Friday morning. So we're going to try to get it in really fast. And that way it can be on display part of Friday and definitely all day Saturday, because it's gorgeous to look at, and I didn't have enough time to look at it myself. But that's what we're going for. We'll have all that information very clearly and as easy as possible for everyone to be able to do. Kamon, can you give my twin brother a shot at a price to make the t-shirts for the conference? Twin brother. He's based out of North Georgia and has a commercial screen printing business. Send me an email about that. We're not opposed to it. I'll have to see some work. Whenever you go into the unknown on something like that, like the folks that I have doing it, I know them. I know what they're going to do. I know what they're good at and what they're not good at. And so I've already got enough new logistics this year to deal with, but it is not out of the realm of possibility, but I'll need to see some samples. I get a lot of people right now requesting to speak at the conference, and I'm sure they're all really nice, but I've probably gotten 24 requests in the last 10 days to speak at the conference. And, it doesn't mean that you're not good, but I don't know you, and I've never heard you before, and I don't need someone up there, that's not able to get the job done. And so if you want to do something like that, send me a video, send me a presentation, send me some shirt samples, send me something. Show me the honey.
Show me the honey. Yeah. Show me the honey.
That needs to be a t-shirt. That might be a t-shirt.
Yeah. Show me the honey.
Show me the honey. Oh, there's Tom Nolan right there. I was talking about you earlier, Tom. Yeah, you'd fit in down here in Tennessee just fine. Just got to change that accent and get a little y'all in there. So Humberto, one of the things that I've watched with your channel is that you've dived into more the scientific aspect of, like, for example, you were talking about varroa mites, and this was probably a year and change ago, and you're talking about how deformed wing virus the varroa mites concentrate those levels to higher. What was it, like 700 or 800 times possibly?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
it's not all the virus but basically the way I teach my students when I was at the university to understand the problem with varroa is that we are able to infect a pupa and put the pupa in the same tube, and then there is this tube with a lot of pupa infected with virus, and the other one with no virus at all. We didn't do anything. It's just a control. And then we get that tube and we shake like this. This just melt. And the other one is still intact. So when a virus replicates inside the cell, they just destroy the cell. It's one cell each time. And we don't know very much about the interaction. We actually know a lot, but not enough to explain a couple things with the relationship with varroa mite and the viruses they carry. The introduction was very early. There is 100 years. There is a lot going on with all the viruses and other pathogens, so they are interacting with each other. So that's why I have problem when people come with very bold claims and say things. And you need to see the big picture. A lot of things are happening at the same time, and we are just observers now, unfortunately, until we figure something uh, more powerful to do. But viruses are spread, and apparently they might have some way to increase the capability of the virus to replicate in the maybe something in a saliva that inhibit the immune system of the bee, because they need to keep that, the hole open to keep feeding in the fat bodies. And so there is something, there is a lot of research going on. Apparently the mites, we're learning new things now. The mites might need fat bodies from different seasons to be able to reproduce well. So if they feed from the fat bodies from the bees in the summer, it's not the same. So they need to continue the different kind of components to replicate. There is a lot going on. And
Wow.
I'm gonna bring a lot of those videos. The problem with my videos, they take forever to
Yeah.
make.
I mean, I see your videos, Humberto, and I know how much time it takes to do something like that.
It's,
I'm like, gosh, he spent 8 hours, 10
no,
hours on this
more.
videos.
That's the first take, and then I don't like it, and I throw it away, and I start over. It takes sometimes a week to make
Yeah.
one that I'm kind
You
of
know,
happy.
and that's the difficult thing is, and I love the industry that I'm in. However, if you did a video, some of those really high level videos that you put out, if you were like Smarter Every Day, I don't know if anyone watches that channel. He does a lot of experiments with like shooting baseballs through things at high speeds and
Yeah,
different things.
yeah,
And, so he'll spend, days and days or weeks on a video, but then he can get 20, 30 million views
yeah,
because it's something that almost anybody would be interested to see how fast a baseball can go and how many dummies can it shoot through. But for the bee industry, we do a really educational video. You could spend 5, 7 days on a video and do very good in our industry and get maybe 60 to 100,000 views. And you don't make what you put into it. You're if you, YouTube. I think a lot of people watch my videos and think that I'm fixing to build a mansion any day now. It's we're not anywhere close to that.
yeah.
I was making a lot more than this like 3 times when I was truck driving, and that was like 9 years ago. So truck drivers are doing a lot better than beekeeping YouTubers, but it's not about um, just that, and it does help us out for sure. One of the best things we've gotten from the YouTube, from a monetary standpoint, for our bee operation is just being able to advertise our nucleus colonies. Used to we struggled. We're in the middle of nowhere. I'm in a town of like 2,000 people, and so it was difficult for me to get people to understand that we sold bees. And a lot of times I'd be sitting on 40 nukes and I wouldn't have anywhere to go with them. I had to really work hard to get them sold. Nowadays, oh man, I unfortunately have to turn a lot of people away. So it's been very
It is
beneficial.
great, yeah. It's a lead generation for me too. I work with several companies from many different countries and the continents. It because of the YouTube, so many leads.
Oh, I
Go
was a
ahead.
natural reaction. I'm used to being on my
Go ahead.
live chat,
That's
and
fine.
so
That's fine.
Steinfall
It is
Valley said that they had to go, and I'm like, see us, because
see it. Yeah.
I see them on my YouTube channel from time to time.
No, it's
Um,
good. Good to have your people here. Yeah. Please let me know if I can help with anything. If you need any kind of videos, I'll be happy to make. If there's any information that you want to know, shoot me an email. I'll be happy to try to bring the best
yeah,
information and the best people to talk to.
yeah. I
For
want you to
example,
do.
look at this. You see this
Yeah,
microscope here? It's something new. It's coming from my live streams. We're going to start to dissect some bees and see some things inside. I'm going to ask
awesome.
people to send me some samples, the things that they don't know what happened to their bees. And I'm going to try to figure that out with the microscope here live. So we're going to talk about bee physiology and pathogens a lot. So it's going to be fun.
Oh, I'm looking forward to those videos. I wish I had more time to do that kind of stuff, but that's where again we got to have this community because I don't have the capabilities or the time to be able to do that. You've got the skill to do it, and you might not have the time, but you're willing to make the time. And
So
I,
you
I,
have
I'll
to.
be watching those videos. I'll be watching those
Yeah, I think it's
videos.
gonna be good, to have that interaction and people can see, can identify a nosema correctly or piece of the tissue or pollen, differentiate the different kind of pollen. Is a lot of things that, and something that is not there. I'm always looking for something. What can I do that there is not there and I can help? So that's always my thinking with my videos. So nobody, that's why I don't do the beekeeping, because I have you guys. You guys do a fantastic job. I need to do something that, I can contribute with something different. So I'm always trying to look for something different to do.
Absolutely. And there's a good question by Kathy Hathaway. Cayman, do you happen to know if there are any campgrounds on site or nearby for the conference? So the Kentucky Expo Center actually has an RV area. And I believe, no,
Oh.
I know they have 150 spots for RVs. This place is big. And so now they did say they have like a bathroom shower area, but it's going to be winterized at that point, so you'll have to be able to take care of yourself there. And as someone running the event, I have to ask you to make sure that you bathe and all that stuff, because we don't want to smell you the entire time. All jokes aside, there will be RV stuff, and I will be posting that on the website and on the Facebook group as well, the North American Honeybee Expo Facebook group. So that will happen very soon. And if you RV, I think they have some dry camping stuff too. So people who have the capability of camping in January and enjoying themselves, I'm happy to learn more. I remember my dad took me on a camping trip when I was 13. I remember this very well. Froze my rear end off, and it was a father-son trip, and it was. I had a great time with my dad, except when we were sleeping, because we didn't prep for it. In Tennessee, the weather can change a pretty good bit that time of the year, and you will have a 70-degree day, and then it might be a high of 32. So it dropped down to like the upper 20s, and the first night we just froze. We didn't have the right type of sleeping bags and didn't bring any extra blankets, so we slept with our clothes on. It was cold. Good memories now. But the second day, this is where you've got to listen to the older folks. My great-grandmother told of a story, went back into the Depression, when they moved up from Arkansas because they were burning their furniture. They were so poor. People these days think they've got it rough. No.
No.
They were burning their furniture back then. And they drove up in her uncle's pickup, and it was her family, her uncle's family, all of them in one pickup, all the way from Little Rock all the way up to Anderson, Indiana, for the General Motors jobs, to get those jobs. But one of the tricks that they would use to stay warm at night, because it was so cold in winter, is they would take limestone rocks or bricks, whatever they could get their hands on, and they would stick them at the edge of the fire, and then they'd pull them out and get them at the right temperature, then wrap them up in a thick blanket, and then put them at the foot of the bed. And that would help them stay warm. And so the second night we did that, we actually had a pot with us, a big one. We put some big rocks near the fire, got them hot, put it in that pot, and then we put a blanket over the top of the tent. It was so humid in that thing. We got up the next morning, there was like rain. It was like raining, but we weren't cold. It did a really good
worked.
job. We had like 5 stones. So you got to listen to those old timers. They got some tricks.
They know how to do it, and cheap. Yeah.
It's cheap, right?
Rod, yeah, I will try to make my videos not over the top. I know some folks sometimes tell that my videos are too much. I'll try to explain better, I'd say. So, but thanks for your comment.
Well, and that's where it's tricky with us, is like we do like the one shot take videos, and a lot of times we miss something because it's like Laurel's like, all right, here we go, and then I just start prattling on, and sometimes I'll miss a point, and it's so important I have to retake the whole video.
Oh, I know. Oh,
and
I know.
It's awful, and then you see your wife just.
Yes. Well, you have a wife that help you with that. I don't have a video camera person. It's just, oh no, I need to do it again.
Yeah, exactly. I remember one time, this was the most demoralizing thing she's ever said to me. She's like, take 451.
Oh, that
and
hurts.
And it wasn't 451, but it probably was like take 30. It was ugly. And when Laurel starts throwing out that kind of backhanded humor, I know that
It's a
it's
time
it's
for a
bad.
break. It's time for a
It's time
break.
for a break.
Time
That's
for a
right.
break. Yeah, get your coffee and try it again later. Yeah. All
So
right, what we got here?
we got all kinds of stuff down in here. So Chris Medeiros is one of the guys that helps me with the conference. Actually, so he's the one that has done the website stuff and Facebook, like that Facebook.
Oh yeah, I saw. His face is familiar to me. I see him online.
Well, that's
Some
it's
videos.
nothing to really mention or anything like that, but um, he's a beekeeper up in Ohio, and he messages me and he texts me about how frustrated he is. But what blows my mind is guys like Chris, and there's another buddy of mine, Josh Cantrell. He plays banjo in our conference band. And these guys are like 3, 4 years into beekeeping. They're already making splits. They're already making honey. They're overwintering bees. I wasn't doing that in my third or fourth year. I was still wondering if I needed to feed bees or not. Because around here in Tennessee at the time, it was right after CCD hit, and everyone was like, you know what? Let's just throw everything out. Let's not feed. Let's not treat. Let's change the style of hive. The commercial way of beekeeping. That's what's killing them. That's the problem. And it was a very confusing time for me. And now looking back, it makes me a little angry because, to a certain degree, I made the choices myself on what to do or not to do. But the people that I looked up to were giving me information that they had no right to be teaching anybody. And so it's not my goal to get rid. There will always be people like that who bring a snake oil onto YouTube or something like that. But my goal is to see guys like you and guys like Richard Noel and Bob Benny, and I try to be a part of it myself to create this community where there's a lot of very good information, and so people will be able to see that quickly, and then they can choose for themselves which direction they want to take. I didn't get that good information early on.
Yeah, I always stimulate the people to. I love to see, when we're trying to test something, how you're testing, because that's my thing, trying to help people to teach them how to do better testing in their own operation, so they
Mm-hmm.
can get the best information they can get to use for themselves, so they can make better choices. And I love to follow when people are doing experiments themselves. Yeah, just go it, just try it, talk with other people how you make a better experiment. Maybe you don't have this, but you might have something else. The better you learn the scientific method, the better information you're going to get for yourself, so you can make better decisions, and you're going to get closer to get more
So
honey, more things.
what I'm wondering is if we get you to the conference, are you going to have an Inside the Hive, the TV booth? That's what I want to know.
Oh, that, wow. I'm going to need to do some investment.
Well, just some cardboard and some crayons, and
Yeah, we can try to do that. Yeah, to do
I,
some scientific, yeah, method 101 for beekeepers, how to do testing in your own operation. Yeah, I would love to do that. That would be fun.
it'd be fun, that, and there's we primarily are sideliners and hobby beekeepers at our event. However, we are getting more and more with each year professional and commercial beekeepers to show up to our event. And so I would like to see more of that. I want it to be a community of all levels. And that way we can learn from each other, because a lot of those commercial guys, some of them are like second, third generation, lots of knowledge and experience that can be gleaned from. And
That's good to hear, Kamon, because there is this division, in the industry, and is for years, 20, 40 years, between the commercial guys and the other beekeepers. They speak different languages, that's true, but I think the industry is so much stronger when they are together, so much
totally.
stronger.
Well, that's why Laurel and I work so good together. Becky mentions that, a very kind compliment to myself and Laurel, but that's definitely why Laurel and I are able to accomplish so much. Is we have a similar goal, but our skill sets are quite different, and how we look at things. It never ceases to amaze me how I'll look at something, and Laura will look at it from a totally different angle, and bring an idea to the table. And now it's expanded much further than that, where we've got guys like Chris on, and Josh Voorhees, and Andrea Porter, and Hank Yasik. I was just talking to him, and Hank's got conference experience. He's already, he's done massive shows for hunting and fishing and stuff like that. And so he brings all this experience. And what I'm getting at is Laurel's got this experience here. Hank's got this experience. Chris is really good with social media. That's what he does with his job. Josh does a lot of interaction with people in person. So we pull all these experiences together. That is what creates this conference. I might have I think maybe out of all of them, I probably have the best understanding of what a beekeeper wants, but how to make it happen, they're usually the ones that are getting all the hard stuff figured out. So that's what this community must do. The commercial guys, hobby guys, everybody in between, we're the only ones that really care about bees to the level that it's actually going to matter and get things done. So if we're too busy fighting with each other, well, that's just the most counterproductive thing we could ever try to do.
That's true. And one of the biggest example to me is the fights that we're doing. The fights, we need to go to Congress. We need to have people, and when they split, we lose the power of people to sign, forms and show to the Congress, show to the lawmaker that there is a lot of people. When you show with just a bunch of people, the lawmaker they don't care. So when the industry unite and you have all that voice together, then you make a voice, then you make a change.
The squeaky wheel gets the grease, but it takes a lot of beekeepers to make that wheel squeak. That's true. There's several people that contact me, and I'm pretty sure they're contacting you as well about some of these issues with things in legislation or Congress, all this kind of stuff that needs to be done. But the problem of it is it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of cooperation. The egos have to be put to the side for the better good, which is helping beekeepers and honeybees and protecting them from possible toxic sprays or over development that's going to damage their habitat or whatever it is, or maybe even worse, practices that are like dumping honey into the country and causing our commercial beekeepers and professional beekeepers. And if anyone who thinks it doesn't affect the small beekeeper, it does.
It does.
It affects every beekeeper having this rice syrup and whatever they like to call honey shipped over here at these very low prices and bottoming out our bee industry. And that, because it's so low, it makes it harder for businesses to survive. And when you have less businesses and less interest, you have less innovation, you have less money going into companies, which means less development, less innovation. And the industrial needs, the economy of beekeeping has been somewhat stagnant in the past. And it still, in several ways, is stagnant. And that is one of the reasons why we're working with these companies so aggressively, because to get this wheel churning, if you study enough about world wars and the Depression and different things that hurt or built the U.S. economy or other economies in the world, it is so critical that you have a healthy industry of companies that are getting good product out, people are buying it, and you have this flow, and it builds momentum. But it takes all the pieces working together, and I just love it. The biggest problem I foresee, Humberto, with this whole thing is that I only got one life to live, so it's going to take a lot more than just me, and that's why that youth sponsorship exists. It's a very devious plan of mine to get these young men and women more addicted to bees, and so that they can start doing this work. So you and I can take a vacation.
Well, yeah. So what else we have here?
Ooh. these new headphones, I feel like I've got a head shrinker on.
Yeah.
It's just
Thank you, Chris. Thank you very much. It's good to know that people are watching and learning. And please let me know because I enjoy do the videos that people want. That's I think is very important. You know, to if I have focus directly from you guys, it's much easier for me to bring whatever you guys need. I heard somebody need more Nozima stuff. I worked with Nozima
mm-hmm.
many years, so I can help with that. Which is not Nozima anymore. They changed the name. Scientists like to complicate things sometimes. I mean, most of the time. Now it's a name that I can't even pronunciate. So I'm gonna keep
I
calling
hadn't heard
Nozima.
I haven't heard this, and you know the reason that humans talk to each other is to communicate so that the other party can understand.
Yeah,
That is the only reason.
yeah.
And one of the things that bothers me the most is that I will get comments about how I mispronounce things, and
Oh,
I have a.
welcome to my world. You can't.
I wasn't gonna say it. Wasn't gonna
Please,
go
no,
there.
no, 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 no. Please, I have a wife and kids. They're all American, and I got jokes 24/7. So don't worry about it. You can throw all the jokes you want.
But I really think that sometimes we get so caught up in these little details, like why switch the name of Nozima? I mean,
Oh, there
even
is
if
a reason. If the
uh,
problem, there is a reason, but it's not a reason to bother to get
to change it,
non-scientists to to use it. I would say to beekeepers, keep using Nozima because that's the way you communicate with yourselves. But for the science, there are reasons. We need to categorize things in specific ways
sure.
because need to be precise. Science is supposed to be precise. So change it over there, but don't when I what bothers me most when a scientist just stop. No, this is not called Nocemon anymore. Oh, just shut up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so it's
You
like
know
with
that's
Varroa, they when they're inside the cell, it's one thing, and when they're outside of the cell, what do they? A lot of people do
Yeah,
that,
they are different. Yeah, they don't have the cover that protect them from outside. So I don't care about the names.
right?
That's why I make the videos.
And some people get a little technical. My goal at the end of the day, whether it's when I'm learning or when I'm trying to teach somebody something, is just say it in a way that they can understand, or please say it in a way that I can understand, because I'm wanting to learn. And so that's one thing that with our conference that we really try to do when we get these speakers in, and this makes it very difficult to find a speaker. We're looking for a really a combination of three things. I'm looking for someone who's very good at whatever it is they do. If it's researching, I want them to be very good at that. I also need them to, if they're a beekeeper, they have to be very good at that. And it could be a commercial level. Maybe it's 20 hives and they're just really dialed in on those 20 hives. I know some guys like that. They're awesome. But I need them to be good. And the second thing I really need them to be is I need them to be able to actually explain that and teach it, which there's so many people who are brilliant and they're horrible at communicating it.
That's correct.
Um,
Yep.
and so I've got to have those two things. That's hard enough to find. Then I want something extra special, and this is selfish, but I want them to be likable. I want them when they get off that stage to be likable.
Yeah.
And some of these people do not want to mingle, and I've spoke with them at conferences, and I think that makes up for a lot of my shortcomings. Is that I'm not the smartest guy in the room most of the time, but I am one of the friendlier guys in the room. And so when I get off the stage, anybody can come up and talk to me. I've lost my voice so many times at bee conferences because I'll just talk bees with anybody. And that's what I love about Bob Benny. That's what I love about guys like you. And that's why a lot of the fellows that are coming back this year, they keep coming back every year because they're so friendly and they're a part of this culture that we've created. And that's who I'm looking for in a speaker. We'll get other people too. We have some of them coming this year. But man, I love people that are likable. It doesn't matter if they've got a PhD or if they run
Yeah.
10,000 colonies. They're just nice people.
I saw Cameron Jack is gonna be there. I was his office neighbor in University of Florida for 3 years. Yeah, we worked together for many years. It's a great guy. He is a good teacher. He's a good speaker. Good choice.
Yeah, I think so. And the biggest problem I have with Cameron is whenever we speak at the same place, a lot of times people call me Cameron all the entire time because they can't
Really?
hardly get the Cayman. Yeah, they can't get the Cayman
Okay,
right.
I see. I see.
And
Cam,
so,
Cam.
and there's like, hey, Cameron, how's it going? Or they'll call me Cameron Jack. And I'll be like, no, it's Doctor Cameron.
Here we go.
And, and, but no, Cameron, he's got a really good sense of humor. When I pick on him, and I mean that's part of the vetting process too. Is I always talk to these people on the phone, or a chat like this, and so really quickly you can find out who can take a joke and who can't take a joke.
Oh yeah.
And so that's kind of my vetting process. So I'll get some of these people and I'll drop a. I mean, it's comedy gold.
Yeah. Well,
And
you know,
like,
people grown up in different environments. You know,
yeah, they
I,
do.
I was thinking my kids in the environment that I grown up. Oh my God, they will struggle. Things change. I think we some people are tougher than others. And we can take a joke. I don't care.
Oh no!
Uh oh.
Cameron Jack is on. Oh
Uh
no!
oh. Hey,
See, I have to be
camera.
really careful. That's a problem with
Uh
social media these days. Everyone can find out. It's really fast. We are excited to have Cameron there, though. I spoke with him down in Texas, and we had a round table. Him and Blake and myself, and there may be another fellow up there, but um, it was really confusing at the time because in the past, I think Cameron had his hair more buzzed and shorter when I'd see him. And then this time he had his hair longer, and we have about similar color of hair, and people were just confusing me like, "Hey, Cameron, how's it going?" And I'm just like, "No, if you're wanting actual research information, I don't have that for you. I don't know that stuff. That's that guy over there." Uh, One of the maybe the weirdest stories with my name, um, and the reason my parents picked the name, they liked the Cayman Islands. They liked the sound of the Cayman Islands, but they wanted to spell it different. And there's a place in Israel it's a town that's spelled Kamon, and so they thought, well, that could sound like Cayman Islands, similar, but it would be spelled differently. So, which is strange. I come from a family of Timothys and Jims, and very very normal American names, I suppose, if you would. At least white American names, and so very, Bill, Nancy, that kind of stuff. And then they did Cayman, and I think if you want to get normal results from your kids, you should give your sons and your daughters normal names. I think that's how it works.
That
Give me
works.
a weird name.
Well, it
So,
didn't work with me, I guess. You
so
have no idea how many versions of my name was introduced after I come to United States 17 years ago. The only thing they remember is my last name, Bon
hmm
Cristiani, which means
hmm
bon good Christian in Italian.
hmm
So that they remember. But Humberto, there is a lot of those, and I just take it. It is what
I,
it is.
for some reason, I've always been able to remember it. But whenever I think of when I say your name and I think of it, I'm always thinking Antonio Banderas.
Here we go.
Yeah, so it's like Bon
I heard that
Cristiano.
before. Yeah, you mentioned that before.
But it's like the Antonio
Yeah,
Banderas
Antonio
of
Bandera of
beekeeping.
beekeeping. Here we go.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, so here we go. David L. Larvae. We
Yep.
understand. Ha
Yeah.
ha.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I got all of those.
So that's something like we'll have people come up to us in Tennessee, and around here, a lot of people say nook. They don't say I have a nuke of bees.
Yeah.
I have a nook, and that one kind of gets to me. But I don't bother correcting them on that. You know, I kind of like the fact, and we're losing a lot of it, and a lot of it's because of social media. We can communicate so much faster, so a lot of the accents are being lost. And I don't think there's anything nefarious behind all this at all. It's just, I'm able to listen a lot from people up north, and people up north now watch videos from people in the south, and you don't have these smaller cultures
Yeah.
anymore. It's expanded so much. And
Language is a
so,
live entity. Yeah, it's
yes,
constantly changing. Yeah.
it is. So, things are changing quite a bit.
Yeah.
Cameron's been on for a while. Wow. Um, well, no pressure, Cameron, but I've already promised a lot of people that you had some legendarily high level research that you're going to be presenting that would
That's
be
true.
earth shattering to the bee industry. So just make sure you deliver, pal.
Yeah, that cure for varroa that we were working on, that's the one that's coming.
Yeah, the one that just takes 3 drops per
Yeah,
hive. Just
three
like bloop,
drop per
bloop, bloop.
hives, five
Uh,
cents per hive.
yeah, 5 cents. Yeah, commercial.
Commercial available, pure.
That's right.
Thank you, Cameron.
Uh,
Thank you.
that's right. So I'll stop being such a weirdo, but this is me pretty relaxed. I like to have a good time. I was raised in a family that if somebody wasn't joking with you or cutting up with you, they were upset or something very serious was going down. And so um, yeah, it was a great environment to grow up in. I still have a very good family that I like to be around. And so, those, I kind of carry that onto my YouTube channel as well that, life is good. Obviously, there's a lot of things in life that happen that are out of our control. But I think we always have a choice of what to make from these poor situations that come our way. And in beekeeping, we have our challenges in beekeeping, and so do our bees. But I refuse to listen to those that say and said to me in my teens that there was no future in beekeeping. You couldn't do it for a living. Get out of it. I refuse that. I actually think, if anything, with the education being what it is and the community building like it is, I think we might be fixing to hit a cool little spot in beekeeping that has been long overdue.
You just said it. Keep going. Keep doing what you do, Kamon. I think that's a wrap. I want to thanks everybody for coming and to listen to us. I think it's important to show this entrepreneurial, you know, gentleman in front of me here. Get things done. Keep the industry alive with innovation and keep entertaining all of us. So, Cameron, thank you for everything you do.
Oh, thank you, Humberto, so much. I've been looking forward to this for years.
Yeah, congratulations in your new enterprise, and thank you guys, and have a good night, everybody. It's good to chat, and see you guys in the next video inside the Hive.tv, the show about bees. Bye bye.
See ya.